So today I'm building a computer. It's called Piper. It's a educational kit that's mainly assembled by kids. By kids I mean anywhere from 6 to 14 years old. So those are there with all the parts. This one panel right here is the bottom plate. That's what everything mounts to. That's the storage container. That's where the button pad goes. That's where the speaker goes. That's where the computer goes, and that's where the battery goes. So now just flipping the panel back over. And as you can see back there, that little background, there's a little red screwdriver. Again, that screwdriver comes with the kit. That panel right there is the rear panel, front panel, my mistake. This panel helps hold everything in place, and it keeps the case shut once you decide to transport it. Those are these hinges. Those are what help the panel fold and stay in place. So this panel requires two hinges. The other two are for the screen. One there and one there. So now I'm getting the screws for the little panel, for the little hinges. Those are the smaller screws of the variant. There for the hinges, there's quite a lot of them because each hinge requires 4 screws. Yes, a staggering 4 screws. So right now I'm just getting one side of the hinge done and putting it on that panel. That panel, you could use it as an armrest if you wanted to. You could use it to extend your workspace, but it's mainly used to keep the case shut. So now, right now, I'm just putting that's the screwdriver that comes with the kit that I mentioned earlier. It's pretty small, but it gets the job done. And those are all the nuts. Those are what hold the screws together to the wooden panels. So as you can see, there's little screws poking through right there, and now I have the panel done. Earlier I thought the nuts go on the bottom, but they don't. I got that backwards after I read the manual. I thought this isn't folding right, so yeah. So now that's done, we're gonna go ahead and do all the other. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the rear panel. That's the bottom. That's what the bottom looks like. Keep in mind that this is a educational kit, so that's why it looks all decorated and stuff. So that is the rear panel, and all the wooden panels except for the front one just snap on like that. And as you can see, I'm putting a nut in that little slot over there to hold the screw in place so the panel won't fall off. As you can see, there's that little graphic right there, right above where I put the nut. Those are the case screws. Those are what hold the case together. Right now I'm just using the screwdriver to put this screw into the nut. Keep in mind that these are some pretty long screws, 16 millimeters long, I believe, to be exact. So that's why it's taking a long to a little bit long to screw in. So now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead and attach the side panels. There's 2 side panels. They hold on in the same fashion. That slot right there is to allow the screen to have motion, so it can be tilted back. So that panel also just pops on like that. And that one requires 2 nuts, one attaching it to the rear panel and one attaching it to the base. Now that the 2 side panels are attached, it's starting to look more like a little box. That just has a bunch of cutouts in it. So yeah, that's done now. So now we're gonna so this is the motherboard. That is a Raspberry Pi. It's a $35. Normally, if you just want to buy it alone, you can get it for $35. It's pretty small, but pretty good. I use it as my personal PC at home because my laptop is pretty slow. But it just slots into that slot over there. And now I'm getting some other stuff. So now I'm getting the gamepad, which will be, right now I'm getting the parts for the gamepad, so I just put the case to the side over there. I did this in an earlier attempt, so that's why the circuit board part and wooden panels are already attached. But the sides just pop on like that, as I was mentioning. That's the little mouse over there that I just thought about bringing in. So right now I'm just attaching the rear panels and stuff. Sorry the image isn't in the center. I was having someone else record this for me. So right now I'm just attaching the side panels. Sometimes they can be a little fiddly to get on because they're not cut exact to exact. So that's why sometimes it takes a little pressure to get them on. It's this side that was giving me hassle. So yeah. Everything in this case is designed to look childish, if you would say. So it's child friendly and it looks nice. It's all made of wood, so nothing damaging the earth if anything ever goes wrong. So that's what that looks like, and the front faceplate is to guide to where the buttons go. Those are the buttons: a red, a green, a blue, a yellow, and a black. They didn't include a fifth colored button. I wish they did, but they didn't, so I'm just using a black one. They don't really say, it doesn't really say in the manual how to, which colors to use where, but I'm just putting them like that. Sometimes the pins on the buttons are bent, as you'll see shortly, which makes them hard to put in. So yeah, that's the black one right there. And this computer is designed to be used for Minecraft. As you can see, the yellow button wasn't fully attached because a pin was bent. As you can see, that pin right there was bent, so I'm just fixing that now. I can't bend it too much, otherwise that pin will break off and that button won't work anymore, which is not good. So yeah. Now those are the wires. It may seem like a mess, but trust me, it gets better later. So we're gonna go ahead and choose out one color for each button. So blue wires for the blue button, yellow wires for the yellow button, green wires for the green button, and red wires for the red button, and black wires for the black button. So each button requires 2 wires, because keep in mind a button closes a switch. A button is basically a device that closes a circuit. So there, I have all the wires attached now. It looks kind of It looks neat, but kind of messy at the same time right now. So all the buttons wires attach onto the GPIO pins of the Raspberry Pi, like that being shown there. The wires are designed to just slip on. And it makes it really easy to attach the buttons, so no soldering required. Soldering is when you melt a metal wire into circuit boards to attach electrical components, in case you're wondering. So as you can see, it just snaps in like that. If you want, you can glue all this in place and make it more secure, but I have to give this back to the teacher after I'm done, so I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to do that. That's the storage bin. That's what holds extra wires, switches, lights, and also holds the mouse if you wanted to, but we're not going to put the mouse in there. We might, though. It also holds extra screws and stuff like that. It also just snaps in right behind the game controller pad thing. So it opens right there. This computer has minimal plastic, so that's good about it. That is the link arm for the screen that you just saw. That's what's gonna hold the screen in place and make sure that it doesn't fall all the way back. You can see them in the top left corner right there. That is the screen. It's a small screen, but it gets the job done. It's meant to be an educational laptop. So the HDMI cable goes right into there, and then the power cable goes into that battery pack. That's going to go over there. So now I'm just routing the cables to each side. the HDMI cable on the left and power cable on the right. As you can see, that little green circuit board right there is the screen controller, and we have HDMI cables and power cables going to the back. Those are the sides of the screen. The screen just slips onto those later, so that is the back panel. As you can see, it has a clear cover that we're not going to put on for now. Later I am putting it on because my teacher tells me to. But it's a bit of a hassle to put on because the letters weren't exactly put on right, so it's a bit of a hassle to get on, but don't worry about the writing on it. That's just to identify whose it is and stuff like that. So we're not going to put the panel on for now. I am putting it on later though. Just trying to see if I can get it back on. Which I don't think I can. So for some reason the panel is warped a bit. So it's really hard to put on, so I'm just going to set it to the side for now. But anyways, that piece right there is the side piece. And just snapping into place like all the other parts just snap into place. And that piece is held on by the front plate. That is the bottom front plate for the screen panel. So that just snaps in place again. And then the other side snaps onto that and that. I then realized that the panel is from the other side, and that it's also backwards, I think. Sometimes these panels aren't cut exact, so it's a bit of a hassle to get them on, but usually they're cut pretty exact. This computer ends up weighing about, I would say, anywhere from half a pound to 3/4 of a pound, depending on if you keep the battery inside it or not, and other things like of that nature. But yeah, it's about, I'd say, half a pound-ish. So that's the back panel for the screen done. The back part of the screen, that is. And as you can see, everything just attaches together using that slot and hole system and that other slot and screw system. I then realized that that piece was backwards, so I'm just putting it on now the right way. So all the writing and stuff is on the inside because we don't want any of the writing and stuff on the outside. So that piece then goes on to attach to there. So as you see, though, it has the same hinges from before, except they're not the same hinges. They're different of the same kind. The kit comes with 4 hinges. It pretty much comes with everything you need to build it. So that's the HDMI cable, and that's the USB cable. The USB cable is for power, the HDMI cable is for video. So the screen would just end up just falling into place right there on all those slots. Like so. Just getting the screws for the screen. Actually, those are the screws for the linkage arms, which make sure the screen doesn't just fall off. So I'm just unscrewing those for right now. And earlier you saw those 2 little arms, that one right there. It attaches to that hole that's nearest to, with that little pin sort of thing. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but it's like a pin in a nut, but fancier, I guess. So there, I'm just screwing the Phillips head screw into the holder for that. I thought I could get it in with my hands, but I couldn't, so I'm now using a screw. Now I'm using the screwdriver that came with the kit. also kind of a screw on the long side, maybe. Don't forget to do this step, as I forgot to do it when I was just putting the computer together to get familiar with it earlier on. I forgot to do this step and to take the whole thing apart. So yeah, don't forget to do that step if you're going to build this computer yourself. It's called, again, Piper. It's not that expensive, I believe. It's about $60, $70. Even if you just want a portable laptop sort of deal, this would be a really good thing to do. Even though you don't use all the other stuff, if you just want a portable Raspberry Pi laptop, it's still useful for all the other things. I've tried building my own Raspberry Pi laptop, and the price goes out the roof real quick. So then I'm just organizing the cables, making sure that they don't get tangled. And sometimes the screen has a hard time getting on because of how all the panels are screwed together and it's all tight and stuff. So right now I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting the screen on, but I'll get it on eventually. So there I'm grabbing some screws to hold the screen on and some nuts to hold the screen on. And there I am screwing in the screw into the nut to hold the screen on. The other two little screws on the front plate are to hold the actual screen assembly to the front plate. So yeah. There I'm screwing in the other side. And I would say right about this step, use the sponge blocks that came with the kit as part of the packaging. You can see it right there on the right side, poking out on the middle. There I'm taking out the storage box because it's getting in the way of the slot which the screen slides in, and also it's getting in the way of the screen hinges. So as you can see, the screws go through like there, but the screws go through like that, which then are what hold on the screen. So if you don't have any support holding the screen, or some help, or don't have help from someone else holding the screen, this part is pretty hard. So you might want to take the screws out first. Oh well, there I just flipped it to show you guys what it looks like from my side, from my point of view. So I'm just pushing the screws through, and I try to attach the screen here, and it's if you're just trying to lift the screen on one finger, it's pretty heavy. So do get someone else's help for this part. There I'm resting the screen on the case, which helps hold it. And that little screw right there, that one screw left, is about to fall into the case. So I'm gonna have to open the thing anyways to retrieve the screw. So at the end, it would sit sort of looking like that. If you wanted, you could put rubber feet on it, so you can and a handle on it, so you can lift it like a briefcase. But I wouldn't do that. And there, I find it easier if you put the screws in from the outside and hold it with your finger. Even though it doesn't look as good, it is easier and puts less stress on your fingers. But again, I do recommend having someone helping you along with this. So then I'm just putting the nuts on for the screen, which will then hold it in place. There I'm putting in the screws for the other side. That letter right there comes with the thing explaining what to do and whatnot, and like it's a little checklist in there. but I didn't read it because I didn't feel like it. So then I'm just using my finger to hold the screws in place while I put the nuts on. And then later I come back with the screwdriver to make sure that they're really tight. So now I'm gonna go ahead and attach the linkage arms in a minute or so. Right now I'm just going back with the screwdriver to make sure that the screws are tight and they don't fall back, stuff like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach the linkage arms, which you can see is sticking out of the screen structure right now. They sort of look like double-ended box wrenches, which you'd use to like work on a car. So yeah. You'd also need to, I would also recommend having some help on this part as well, as it's pretty hard to hold the screen in place, try to slide the screw and other stuff, only with two arms. So I would say have someone hold the screen and then you put the screw through and stuff like that. There are a lot of uses for the Raspberry Pi computer, like home automation, like stuff in cars. Currently I just use a Raspberry Pi as my personal PC, and there I put in the thing wrong. I put in the little ferrule thing in wrong, so I'm just gonna stick it from the other side now. So there I'm just doing that, and I'm getting the screw. Sorry you guys can't see this, but it's a bit of a hard angle to shoot. So there I'm putting it through. So now I'm back. It's the next day. Class ended. All I did really was twist together the wires for the button pad so it doesn't look like a spaghetti monster. So as you can see, the computer is making some good progress. So that's the latch, which we'll use to keep the computer closed when it's in transportation. It's a latch. You'd maybe see it on stuff like a picnic basket or something of that nature. It isn't designed to hold that much weight, but it's just there's two holes right there for the latch to screw into, and there's some pretty tiny screws for the latch. Those are the only screws that don't that can't just screw into the nuts, because all other screws can, but it's just those latch screws that they can't. All the other screws, like for the hinges and the case, are all machine screws, but the latch screws are made to screw directly into wood, as you can see. The two holes are made from early previous attempts to build this computer, and also by the many other people in the Duval County District who have put this computer together. So I'm just making the screw tight. And now that piece of the latch goes on the armrest sort of piece. It goes right there into those two little holes. So there I'm just screwing it in. So that one side's done, and now I'm tackling the other side. So there, the latch is attached. And now, if we wanted to, we could, we're gonna go ahead and put the panel on, because our teacher said so, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on. And also, I realized that it looks nicer So to put that panel on, we're going to have to take the screen off. Now realize I should have done this earlier. From that side, the little nut falls into the screen case, so we're going to have to go ahead and retrieve that. So there I'm just unscrewing the nut so I can... Now I'm just unscrewing the screw so I can get to the back side of the screen, because as you can see, the 4 little holes in the back corners of the screen assembly are where the plastic panel screws into. So now I'm just gonna snap the plastic panel back into place. It's a little hard to do because the letters weren't put on exactly perfect. They were put on before the panel was, so it's a bit hard to get the panel on. But I do get it on eventually. There I'm using the long screws for the 4 extra long screws for the panel, because they have to stick through the sorry guys, can't see that. Dropped a screw, so my assistant was retrieving it for me. By assistant, I mean cameraman. So there are the 4 screws, which we're going to have to hold in place. I take out the top 2 screws because I know they're going to fall out, and I don't want to get up and retrieve them again, so I'm just putting them aside for now. And the screw into right there and right there. So there's the nut that I'm going to use to attach the plastic panel. The bottom 2 corners are the hardest corners to do this to because of the linkage arm place, so that's just put the plastic panel on before the linkage arm. That way it's, we can get to the other side. And then I'm just using my finger on the other side of that panel to hold in the nut so I can get that in place. Again, it's a pretty long screw, so it does take a while to screw in. So there I'm getting the other side now. And if I weren't filming this, if I weren't shooting this, it'd probably take me about half an hour to 40 minutes to build this if I weren't shooting it for YouTube and also the other classes. There I'm just holding the nut in place with my finger and screwing it in from the other side. And now that nut's tight. As you can see, it's done now. So now I'm getting the top corners done, which are a bit easier to do. Just getting it done from the back side there. Although the screwdriver that came with the kit is nice, I would say if you want to do this, get possibly a bigger screwdriver that still fits on the screws, because my hands wore out pretty quickly at screwing in stuff with this little screwdriver. I believe in total there's about 30 or so screws in the whole thing. It may not seem like a lot, but that's still kind of a lot. There I am screwing in the other side. So now that side's done, and I'm gonna go ahead and attach the screen back on. Sorry the camera's moving so much. So I'm just putting a nut through there because I don't want it falling through when I put the screen on. And I put the nut on the other side. So that's good. Now I'm just routing the cables for the screen. Again, the video cable goes on the left side and the power cable goes on the right side. Now I'm attempting to put the screen on, and as I said, the screen, since all the panels are so tight and stuff, it's a bit hard to get the screen on, but once it's on, it's on. So there I'm just having a little hard time putting the screen on because all the panels are so tight and stuff. It's mainly that if the bottom's in, I can't get the top, and if the top's in, I can't get the bottom in. And there I decide to unscrew the linkage arm so I can apply some downward pressure. But I decide not to and just make it tighter. So there I'm making sure that the nut, I was taking out the nut so it doesn't fall into the screen, and if it falls into the screen, it'd be really hard to retrieve. Getting the cables back in place. So there, I'm again trying to put the screen on, which I'm having a little difficulty with. The screen is kind of small, but it gets the job done. Really and truly, if you wanted to, you could use another screen, like a bigger television or something. We're just using what came with the kit. So there, I'm just making sure that the screen's in from the bottom, which it now is, and it's also in from the top, so now I'm going to go ahead and put the nut in place and then screw it in. So there's my screwdriver, which my assistant gave me. So there I'm just screwing it in. So there I'm just screwing in the other side, which I'm about done with in a couple. Yep, just done with that now. And now I can flip the screen up, and now that that piece is on, just inspect and make sure that the pieces are on tight and they won't fall off. So those wires will eventually attach to the Raspberry Pi, like I said earlier, to make sure they're plugged in all the way. There, I put the Raspberry Pi back in place, and I'm getting the HDMI cable put back into the screen so it doesn't stick out as much. There, I'm putting a little bit more of the cable back inside the case, and now I'm almost done with that. And then the other cable attaches to the other cable that's loose attaches to the power. And there I'm just testing and putting the cable back inside so it looks a bit neater. So now we're almost done with the computer, and there's the power bank. The button turns it on, and it also turns it off. There's one USB port for the computer and one for the screen. So it's turning it off there. And as you can see, the screen does indeed work. So yeah, that's the power cable for the motherboard part of this build, which is called a Raspberry Pi. So now that's in place. And I'm just fixating the speaker now. It's a pretty small speaker, but it gets loud. That's the mouse that came with the computer. So that just plugs into there, into a little headphone jack. That headphone jack in the settings can also be configured as a AV output. So if you don't want to use Raspberry Pi, you can use normal yellow, red, and white plugs, if you know what I'm talking about. And on the other end, the three little metal boxes on the motherboard are first two are USB ports. There's four of them, and the last one is a Ethernet port. So now the Raspberry Pi is now the keyboard is attached, and those are just some extra wires that might come in handy later with those buttons and those lights. So I'm just putting those away so I don't lose them. And that's the mouse. So I'm now going to go ahead and turn on the computer for the first time. So there, the lights are blinking now, and now, as you can see, the computer is just booting. This computer runs on Linux. So there is just the boot screen. This computer is meant to be used in Minecraft. Used to play Minecraft because all the missions are based around Minecraft. Kind of an old game, but it's a good game. So now our computer is booted, and I'm gonna go ahead and choose something to do. So I'm just using the mouse to select something. So let's try Pipercode. Yeah, let's try. Well, yeah, let's try Pipercode. Just clicking on that. And now I'm just going to go ahead and start Pipercode. And I'm going to do the blink one. So yeah, first one's blink, so I'm going to go ahead and do blink. So it says we need two wires, the breadboard, and any color LED. There's the breadboard. I'm getting two little lights from the storage bin. Well, actually, we only need one. So there, I'm getting the light from the storage bin. I chose yellow light for some reason. I think I should have chose white, but I chose yellow, which is still okay. So there it says one breadboard, one LED, and two cables, which I'm getting the two cables, blue and yellow. Because I chose blue and yellow for some reason. So I'm just seeing how to do it, and the bottom left pin is pin 1, the top right pin is pin 40. Yeah, so we need to attach it to pin 21 and 22. So there it shows how to do it. Yep, so pin 22 and pin 21. The longer lead of the LED is the positive side. So there I'm just putting on the cables. As you can see, the light's blinking, stuff like that. By the light blinking, I mean the light on the motherboard. So there I'm just snapping it into place on the breadboard. So the positive on that side and the negative on that side. I currently have it backwards, so I tried running the code and stuff. It chose to do repeat forever and stuff like that. So I accidentally clicked out of the thing. So yeah. So then I know. So yep. I accidentally clicked the X button again. It's not blinking, so well, it wasn't blinking because I didn't start the code. So now I'm just inspecting why it didn't work. So now it's the next day, and we're back again. And we're just going to go ahead and turn the computer on. And as you can see, it booted, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the speaker on. I do realize that I'm turning it off. For some reason, I don't know why I did that, but I guess I thought it was off, so I was turning it on, but it was actually, but I actually turned it off. So there's the mouse again, just plugging it into the USB slot. So yep, just plugged in right there, and as you can see, the mouse is on now. And I'm gonna go ahead and do Piper code again. Well, we'll go ahead and see what Piper is. It's just more Piper code stuff. So now we're gonna try stoplight. It's gonna need 6 wires, 2 reds, 2 yellows, and 2 greens. Unfortunately, I don't have 2 greens, so I chose blue and yellow again. So there's our 2 yellows. Well, I chose blue and green today, so those are red. And there's our other red wire. It shows that we need 6 wires again, and 3 LEDs and the breadboard. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just spacing out the wires so they don't short out. Putting it on there. And attaching a blue cable because I don't have another green cable for some reason. Now I'm trying to find the LEDs I need. So there's the green, there's the red. And now I'm just looking for the yellow one, which was in the storage bin. Yep, no, but it was right there. So we have our 3 LEDs, red, yellow, and green. Just putting it on there. It shows to attach the LEDs to those pins, so it's going to go ahead and do that. The top 6 pins. It's a bit of a tight squeeze in there, so it's a little hard to get it on, but once it's on, it's on. Just getting the other cable for the yellow LED. And keep in mind that LED stands for light emitting diode. So there, that one's done now, and yeah, so that one's done. And now I'm just gonna put in the LED. Now I'm just gonna put in the LEDs, and it shows the shorter leg goes on the left side, and the longer leg goes on the right side. So I'm just gonna do what it says. Putting in the yellow LED, and now the green LED. There, I got the leg bent a little bit by accident, but I'll bend back. So as you can see, it kind of looks like a stoplight now. It says for pin 22 to turn on, then off, and then add all the other pins. So yeah, it's just to add all the other pins, and we actually clicked out of it, so I'm just gonna go back to stoplight. It says you finished, but we really haven't finished yet. It shows pin 21 through 26. So yeah, we're gonna go to loops. Well, we're just gonna press start. And now you can see it's turning on. Nice, turn the code off there for a quick sec. Go back to electronics to see if I can somehow get that big tab to go away. But I can't, so that's the end of that. As you can see, that's the code. See if I can drag it anywhere. So now on the light show. So now we need a couple more wires. We need 4 of each color to be exact. 2 for the buttons and 2 for the wires. 2 for the lights. That one little breadboard. Just twisting the wires back together because they came unraveled, and I didn't want to look bad, so I just wanted to look neat. So I'm just putting it back together. So there it says to hook the buttons up to pins 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13. As you can see by the little numbers. So it's 1 pin to the right and then 1 pin down. And that's where I put our cables. As you can see, I already have 1 cable attached. So yeah, so one to the right, then 1 down. And that's where I start putting our cables. Yeah, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now, just making sure the wires are good and the buttons are good. So now it's step 3 is to start programming. So I get a repeat forever. So there, it should show the Python, which is a programming language, but we don't have any code currently, so it won't show anything. So it says how to program everything, which we'll do. So it says to put the repeat block and then put repeat while and then pin 9 closed. So right now it says while true, but we gotta replace that with pin 9 is closed. and then it says to turn pin 22 off. And if your LEDs are backwards, it says to just go ahead and switch it. So it says the pattern for the other two lights. It says it's just doing that. Just trying to show you guys the code. So now we don't really have anything else to do, so we're going to go back to start. So we're going to go back to start, go to settings, not there. So we're going to exit out of Piper Code, and we're going to go ahead and attempt to enter the Wi-Fi password. So it's searching for networks right now, and there's all these schools' Wi-Fi networks, and we're going to connect to DCPS BYOD, which stands for Bring Your Own Device. And the password for that is learning is fun with no caps and no, yes, no caps, no letters, no spaces, no nothing, just learning is fun. Sorry for that little cut right there, but yeah, just entering it via the mouse, clicking. If you want to connect a keyboard, you can, but I connected it on later, so it's trying to connect. And later it shows a log on screen, which is sent by DCPS right now. It just says that the password is incorrect. And later it says to log in with your student account and password, so we're going to later do that. So we're going to press connect again. So I'm seeing this is a backspace button, but there isn't a backspace button. So yeah. And then like in a minute or so, a thing pops up. Yep, saying that it needs to open a window for a browser to open, which it's now doing, and it says to connect to the browser window to connect to Wi-Fi. And so it says open browser. I read through all the stuff. Click to check terms of use. I then press connect. It's loading. And it's saying that we now need to log in, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in with my student account. Which I'll do in like a minute or so. So if you wanted to, you could connect it via your phone. So I'm back with a keyboard because we needed a keyboard to enter the stuff. So I'm just plugging in the keyboard in now. Trying to find the right way to plug in the keyboard. Never get a USB in the right way on the first try. So there, I have the password and stuff entered when we're now connected to Wi-Fi. So it's the boot screen again. We're going to go ahead and open a browser window, and I'm going to try to go to the Duval County Schools website. So trying to figure out what PiperNet is. Computer's like loading something now. And right now I just want to go ahead and say while the computer's loading, thanks to Sachin for shooting the last two parts of the video, and Cassidy for shooting the first part of the video. So yeah, thanks to Sachin and Cassidy for shooting the video. and that part is, we don't need that currently, so we're just going to go to the browser window and try to go to duvalschools.org. So duvalschools.org. Press enter. It's now loading. Yeah, so it's now loading. As you can see in the bottom right corner, it says loading. And we're now on the Duval County website. We can look at stuff and do stuff on the Duval County website. So yeah. So it's going to go ahead and X out of that and see what that is. And we're going to try to X out of that, but it won't work for now. So I just minimize the window for now. And we're going to go ahead and now shut down the computer, I believe. Yep. Just trying to see what Piper is again. It loads that, which we don't really quite need right now. And now, it's about done. So yep, I'm just gonna kind of X out of that. Well, minimize it for now. And then we go to File Manager, and that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. That is the end. Thank you, and bye.